What's up everybody, welcome back to another vlog. So today is gonna be a really crazy hectic day. Got a lot of stuff going on today. I'm actually starting off a little late. Not per se my day starting off late, but my vlogging is starting off late. It is 12:28 in the afternoon. It is Monday, what is it, January the 11th.
Told you not to call here. It's not for sale. Quit texting me and aggravating.
Today so far, I already sent out a text messaging campaign. Total results were, I'll tell you right now, just because I want to give them to you up front. That way we can dive into the juicy stuff. So total amount sent was 492, and the total amount received was about 72. So we got about a 14% response rate, which is expected. As you keep texting these lists, the response rate is going to go down more and more and more. Some of these people aren't going to hit you back on the first text, they'll hit you back on the second, third, or fourth. So in general, we're going to look for at least, you know, a 10% response rate when we want to send out these campaigns. Anything over 10 is good, anything under 10 with text messaging is not so good. I'm going to rewind now back to who I'm texting. So last week, I sent out a huge text messaging campaign out to about 2,600 phone numbers. Obviously, not all of them were cell phones. We ended up at like, I think 50% were cell phones. What I did was, off of all those people that responded, said no, said yes, said whatever, I didn't get anything but 2 follow-ups. So, it was okay. What we did get is, we got all those not interested people weeded out. Either they were not interested or wrong numbers. So today, when I set up this text messaging campaign, we went from 2,600 phone numbers to 2,049 phone numbers. So we basically weeded out about 500 phone numbers off of that list. Now what I did was, my text messaging software, whenever they send out a text messaging campaign, it brings me back a list of phone numbers that I was not able to send a text to, and it'll show if they are landlines or not. So what I did was I took all those landline numbers, and I'm setting up a ringless voicemail campaign for tomorrow and Wednesday to go out to basically hit everybody that I wasn't able to send a text to. But before we get the ringless voicemail completely set up, I wanted to send out a text message today and tomorrow to basically get all the other cell phone numbers again with a second campaign. The cool thing is, I was able to see what the total amount of cell phone numbers was, since I was able to weed out all the non-wireless numbers. And the total amount of cell phone numbers that we have to send a text message to is about 776. So we went from trying to send text messages to 2,600 numbers. We were able to weed that down, and now we got all the primary cell phone numbers that we need, which is about, you know, 776 phone numbers. So that's not bad. We're trimming down the campaign. The campaign is getting smaller, and it's costing less money because we're already getting through a lot of those not interested. Now what this is preparing us to do is, now when I go to send off my next campaign of either ringless voicemails or calling, you know, we're gonna get some responses back from that. So today, what I have going on is, I have a closing that I have to attend because I'm double closing on something for the very first time. I've never double closed on a property. In all the properties I've ever done, I've never had to double close until today. And the only reason is to keep a realtor happy, because some realtors get upset when you make money and they don't really make that much money. So in this case, the realtor is making about $1,300 and we're making about $50,000. So big difference in what the realtor's making versus what we're making. And you know, you don't want to mess up your credibility. Not that what you're doing is wrong, it's just that some realtors, they really don't understand what our purpose is in the business. Yeah, we make big checks, but we do a lot more work than a realtor does, and we're the ones pulling out the deals, so eventually these realtors could sell in the end. But enough about me yapping. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in the car. We also have an appointment that we're gonna get to today, and I'm gonna see if I can try to film it while I'm there to give you guys, you know, a little insight of how I used to do some of these appointments. Lately, we haven't been going on a lot of appointments just because either we're targeting people we've already seen months ago, or we've been doing a lot of land. That's like today's land deal that's closing. It's a land deal in Charlotte. So yeah, let me get out of here and let's get on the road. I gotta go and finish off this day. So far though, not really anything on the response of text messages. other than a bunch of not interesteds, but that's cool. Just trying to weed down the list is my main priority. And the list that my cold caller has been calling, he hasn't gotten anything out of that. So yeah, let's get out of here and let's go check out this property. So I wasn't really able to do any type of filming while I was at that house, but I was able to take a couple of pictures, and I had just forgotten about actually filming while I was there because I haven't done it in such a long time. And the guy that was showing me the house actually caught me off guard when I got there. So I couldn't really break out my GoPro and, you know, start filming. But I will tell you this, it was a total waste of time going over there because this guy wanted way too much money. He was way out of the price range. I'm gonna explain to you though how to kind of like respond to those type of high prices. And obviously you can't convince some of these people to sell properties to you at a lowball offer. Now my offer on this property was $60,000, which is reasonable considering the condition of the property, the size of the property, and the location of the property. This property was 1,600 square feet, which is pretty big for that area when most homes are about 700 to 800 square feet. The typical wholesale deal in that area, I usually pick them up for like 30, 40. So the fact that I picked this up for 60 and sell it for 70 shows that this is definitely something I'd pay more money for. You know, obviously some people you can't convince them to sell to you, but what you could do is you can show people, hey, you know, you want 60, 70, in this case he wanted 140. His real price was actually at 180, which was basically retail. So I showed him a couple 180 houses. I'd be like, look, you know, your houses don't look like this. You know, it's run down, the windows are busted. You know, I'll post a couple of pictures real quick so you can take a look at it. Now you tell me, that house is not retail ready. Is it rent ready? I mean, if you want to get some really crappy tenants, sure, it's rent ready. It was basically grandma's passed away, left it to the grandkids. Now they think that they're sitting on a gold mine, which in reality it's not. I mean, yeah, it's worth some money, but it's not worth as much as they think it is. And of course, they are motivated to sell it because of you know, another family member that's supposed to get out of jail, that they don't want him to get a piece of the pie. They are gonna try to move this property as fast as possible. Now, I recommended them to just go with a realtor if they, you know, want the best cash offer, but nobody's gonna pay 140 for that house in the condition that it's in and even qualify for a loan. It has a lot of issues. Water issues, plumbing issues, electrical issues. There's no way that a bank is going to finance that, and if they do, it's going to be at a very high interest rate, and somebody really has to have really good credit. So other than that house, I didn't actually get to go and sign the paperwork for my closing documents because now we're getting held up because the seller said she was married when she first filled out her seller information sheet, and now she's saying she's not married. So now we got to get a decree of divorce and make sure that we have that in place for us to close, which is driving me insane because this is costing me money. I'm using hard money to double close or transactional funding, and I'm actually gonna have to pay another 0.5% because this is getting basically postponed until Wednesday, which totally sucks. So that's like 750 bucks blown in the wind. But it is what it is. I can't do anything about it, and, you know, I'm just gonna have to hold on and just sit tight. Wait for everything to play out. Sometimes it's like that. But other than that, I didn't really get any other deals today. I didn't put anything on the contract. I was able to basically weed out a lot more people that aren't interested. I'm actually thinking about hitting another area with some new lists there that I'm gonna pull from PropStream. I haven't been doing any driving for dollars lately just because I alternate. So I'll pull some lists from PropStream, certain areas, I might hit everybody, and then I'll go back to driving for dollars. For the past 7 or 8 months though, I've been strictly driving for dollars, and there goes my bedtime alarm. It's 9 o'clock at night, just in case you're wondering. So yeah, I haven't been, you know, driving for dollars lately just because I want to shift our marketing, do something a little bit different, and I can't target 6 or 7 markets at once while driving for dollars. It's just physically impossible. I'll still drive through later on and pick up some distressed homes or some stuff that probably won't end up on my list, just because they both go hand in hand. You know, you can't just pull lists all the time. You just can't drive for dollars all the time. You do have to alternate. But I will say this, if you're looking for your first deal, definitely go driving for dollars. There's no wrong that you can do out of it, because you will find all of the distressed homes and you'll be hitting all the right people. That way your marketing is targeted and you're specifically, you know, hitting certain people. I can afford right now to target people that are possibly not motivated, based on the fact that if I go out and drive it, it'll take me a week, but if I just hit it with text messaging, that gas money could go to text messaging. See how that works out? You just gotta be smart about it. Put a plan together. For example, I'll give you an idea on why a list is better, but sometimes driving for dollars is better. Alright, so some things that you gotta kind of take into consideration when you're doing stuff like driving for dollars or pulling a list. You gotta find out how much it's gonna cost you to do either or. For example, I'll tell you exactly what it costs me to drive for dollars. Every time I go out, I drive a monster. So it drinks gas like it's going out of style. I think my truck gets like 11 gallons or 11 miles to the gallon. So if I go out, I drive like 50 miles to 100 miles, stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. I'm probably gonna waste like $30 in gas, right? So 30 in gas, then the time. Let's say I go out for, I don't know, I mostly go out for like 5-6 hours at a time. So 6 hours times, let's say I go out every single day, 5 days a week. So I'm also gonna multiply this by 5. So I might spend 150 bucks on gas. I don't think I spend that much. Maybe 80 to 100 roughly. And I'm gonna spend about 30 hours driving. That's a lot of time right there. 30 hours. I mean, that's a full-time job, or a part-time job, I should say. So the fact that I'm gonna drive 30 hours, waste 150 bucks, this does pay off though. I mean, this 30 hours of driving, I'll probably do it once a month or twice a month, and then I got leads for the next 3 months. So I mean, the amount of labor work there is pretty slim. But when you have a little bit more money for marketing and you can just pull a list, PropStream cost me 100 bucks. All right. So PropStream is not just gonna give you leads off the back. You gotta really think about who are the type of people who are gonna sell to you. With that 100 bucks, I'm able to pull like 10,000 leads a month, or make lists of up to 10,000. And then I can export up to 100,000 leads per month. So that 100 bucks, if I pull a list of, I don't know, 1,000 people, and I'll make the criteria really slim, like 10 years plus ownership, 30% equity, and maybe I'll throw in a variable in there, tax delinquent, vacant, whatever. So tax delinquent or vacant, and I'll text message that list. Now, going back to what we were doing earlier, or what I did last week, on how much it cost me to text message, 2,600 people off of, what was it, 450 leads? So if we take this, let's say we double that. So if we end up with 5,200 phone numbers, I mean, yeah, I spent 150 bucks driving, remember that. 150 bucks driving in 30 hours. Pulling a list takes like 5 minutes, maybe. So here again, 5 minutes. And then texting the what, 5,200 phone numbers? That's completely incorrect. This is actually supposed to be 0.25, because it's 2.5 cents. Obviously you can't, half of a penny doesn't exist, but when you're dealing with digital money, 2.5 cents is what it costs for me to send a text message. So 5,200 times 2.5 cents comes to about 130 bucks in text messaging. The 1,000 leads is gonna cost me about, I think I pay like 30 cents for skip tracing. So $300 in skip tracing. So when you look at the cost, this costs more than, you know, just driving for dollars, spending the 150 bucks in gas, and I get closer to the leads versus pulling a list of a bunch of people that maybe 25% of them are maybe interested in selling, and, you know, taking basically a shot in the dark. This is called skip tracing for dollars. Never knew what that term was until, you know, I started using it. So my cost here is back up to, you know, if anything, this kind of works better, because if I'm gonna basically do the same thing, I'm gonna pull probably 1,000 leads driving for dollars. So I have to add in this 150 on top of the 130 and the 300. You have to target more people, and it's more time consuming, it takes more time. It just really all depends on what you want to do. So what's my cost here? 430 bucks. The marketing 1,000 people, text messaging them, skip tracing them, you know, it all adds up. So I like to switch them up, because there are some people who I'm not going to get on this list. The same way I'm not going to get some of the people that are on this list are not going to be on this list. Because I even though I haven't done it, I've seen other wholesalers in my area wholesale houses that were not as beat up as mine, or not as beat up as the ones that I usually take. Usually I take the real bad ones, like windows falling out, has no walls, has no ceiling, all it is a shell, it looks like a gutted car. The two differences between them, this overall might cost more, and I might be closer to deals on this one, but I might be missing deals here that I'm getting here. So that's why I switched them up. I don't know if the costs are correct. It's about a rough estimate, because I think I spent a little bit less than that in gas. But coming from, I don't really keep track of how much gas I spend. I literally just fill up and I don't care. So that's really about it. So far, starting off this Monday, it has been a real pain. We're trying to get a balance of everything on what we're gonna do. I've also got some other projects I'm working on. We're trying to build a house. Trying to build a couple houses actually. So I'm actually going to joint venture with a few other builders. I'm actually going to pick 3 builders to joint venture on, and we're going to try to build a couple houses. I don't know how that's going to go or when that's going to start. We're going to try that in the next couple of months. But in my 30-day wholesaling challenge, I still haven't gotten a deal. Sucks. I have gotten, you know, I've weeded out a lot of the not interested people. I've been getting a lot of no's, which is a good thing. Because usually once you hear a lot of no's, that means you're really close to hearing a yes. And my cold callers calling that new list, I'll put some stats up for you guys to see. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, so today his total was 570 phone calls. He made 16 contacts, 0 appointments, no leads, nothing. So there you go, you can see for yourself. 570 phone calls, 16 contacts, and that's just for today. There it is. So that is for today. So I got the 570 phone calls, 16 contacts, and I'll show you guys what he did last week. So here we go. Last week, he did 2,715 phone calls, got a really low response rate. 63 people out of those 2,700 phone calls with a 2% response rate. So a 2% response rate sucks. It sucks completely. I mean, you get that kind of response in mail. With phone calls, usually we'll get like 5-10%. Usually 6% is the sweet spot, but 2% is terrible. That means the list is over exhausted. These people are not responding at the moment. It's time to put that list to rest and then come back to it at a later date. Usually I'll let a list rest for like a month or 2, and then I'll come back with like a couple ringless voicemails, couple text messages. And then, we might call it one more time, or call it during the daytime, like between 11 and 1 o'clock, stuff like that. Then usually when a list dies like this, I'll go and I'll pull a new list or go driving for dollars. And that's how I keep my deals flowing. Like right now, I got a bunch of deals closing, but it's from none of my marketing this month or last month. These are deals that I marketed for like 4 or 5 months ago. So your marketing efforts now, they're not gonna pay off tomorrow. They're gonna pay off in a couple of months. It takes about, I mean, my opinion, it takes about 1.5 years to really become successful, and that's just from my own experience. It could be longer for you, just depending on what you do and what type of marketing you're doing. It could be faster for you, just really depends. I know for me, a lot of hurdles that I went through was trying to juggle wholesaling and working a job. But, you know, I've made enough money to where I can quit my job and I just focus on this. And here I am. So that's pretty much it for the day, guys. I don't really have anything else exciting that has happened. I wish that something else exciting has happened, but you know, it is what it is. I appreciate all of you watching. I hope you guys have had some type of good experience with the information that's been provided in here. My goal is this 30-day challenge is kind of like to act like a course, you know, see what I'm doing right now. And if you can replicate the same thing, or maybe even try replicating the same thing that I'm doing, maybe you can pull your first deal, who knows. So I'll catch you guys later, and see you on the next vlog.